The Phoenix is a variant of the Constellation. It's supposed to be the luxury version, whereas the Andromeda was more of a utilitarian, all-around general ship and combat-focused, and the Kill is more exploration-focused. The Phoenix is a luxury ship with a bunch of amenities, beds, hot tub, bathrooms, and skylights, and all that kind of fun stuff.
We'd redone the Constellation base and got it up to spec. It looks good, and now we roll through the variants. And usually a variant means not a lot of work to get another ship, but it's another piece to play with. But for the Phoenix, it's got a luxury element to it. So the other RSI Phoenix or Constellation ships are not luxury ships in the slightest. They all have specific roles. This one's specific role is it's a luxury ship for the stylish. So the redesign is going with that in mind. So after doing the cut lists and getting on the forums and checking out what people are saying, interacting, asking questions and stuff, I did the same thing with the Phoenix. There were a lot of opinions and a lot of suggestions and comments to be had with the Constellation Phoenix, and I agree with almost 100% of them. There's this thing called growing pains that happens, and as the company progresses and as these systems come online, these systems give us more for less. Like the damage system gives us a whole lot more for a lot less work, a lot less system resources, everything across the board. I mean, before then, we had to hand model every single damaged greeble, nurney, every little hole, everything. And that's multiplied per piece on every ship, and that's multiplied by 4 for every damaged state. And then you have to do like the maximum destroyed 100%, where the ship just tears in half. And we had to model all that, and that takes a significant amount of time, which time is money. The solution came up, and when I saw it, I didn't believe it, but when I was watching the demo for our new proposed damage, which is now the damage that's in the game, it's a whole lot more simplistic. It takes the modelers, the tech team, everybody a whole lot less time to have a fully done ship that's fully destructible with not even, I mean, it's like 2,000% less work than it was before.
We took out the body section, which used to be the cargo bay. It still is the cargo bay, but we had to put a floor down so that you can have all this room to walk around, and then put a bunch of seats and televisions and other amenities. Windows, yeah. I think the airlocks on the side are gone. We expanded it so it's bigger. We made it longer also, and it's, I think, a little bit taller. The Lynx rover is going to be in it. It doesn't have as much height, I believe, but it's way more width, so you don't have to like have someone like watching you park the thing. So it's a lot more spacious. The tail, the nose, the neck for the crew quarters, and the habitation module, that's all the same. So we might do some material swaps just to give it a different look, but other than that, it'll be the same.
So when we went back for the initial redesign, we thought about it in a very modular way, linear way, much like a level designer does. If you are an environment artist or designer at any other studio, you have to approach designing and the creation of assets for something that is immensely huge in that type of way. And that's how the bigger ships, the cap ships, and the Constellation is just right on the cusp of being just a gigantic ship. Because the ship is so big, for this variant, when we did the initial redo, it was going to take so much time to do that amount of work that we had both my boss, Chris, and I working on the ship at the same time, and it still took an immense amount of time to get the ship done and get it right.
It was a challenge kind of figuring out how we were going to move the pieces around, but when we originally built it, it was built as a modular thing. So we had the nose, the neck, the body, the tail, and those were all separate pieces so that we could do this change once we go to the Taurus and stuff like that, because it's going to have a different body also. So it is a challenge trying to fit all the pieces together, but since we designed it as a modular kind of ship, then it kind of comes together that way. When we started this, we were already done with item 2.0, at least the initial implementation. So when we were designing it, all the seats and everything are already item 2.0. Everything that you interact with is going to be item 2.0. The components sections that you pull in and out are item 2.0. The screens are item 2.0. It's already something that we have in mind when we're making everything in the back.
The hot tub was a hot topic issue. So it seemed like after reading, it was 50% just, they did not like the hot tub. 50% love the hot tub, they want the hot tub. In the original state, the hot tub is an above ground hot tub, and that's, it's just not cool enough for this type of ship. It's not cool enough. So in reading all this stuff and commenting with people, a real easy solution to give both parties what they want was to sink the hot tub into the ground, have a controller system where if you don't like the hot tub, just don't retract the floor and reveal where the hot tub is. You have just normal floor there, and then for people who want to get in the hot tub, they just gotta hit the button. It was a creative way, and it was also, it's the way hot tubs in luxury situations are. Like, they're in the ground, they're covered, they're put away, they're hidden. It takes more money to do that, so it makes more sense that that's what would be present on a luxury ship like the Phoenix. Materials got brought up a lot. Actually, a lot of people in the community gave suggestions on what type of materials were in there. I'd throw out a couple things like, hey, what's the most endangered wood in the world? And people were actually sending me links to the most endangered species of tree that would be, the most expensive wood as the wood trim. I was saving all that stuff down because that's great reference. That got brought up. People were bringing up rare materials that some I didn't even know about that could possibly be used. And after studying all these spaces, figuring out what my template was going to be for the interior. So obviously we have our wood elements. There are some common themes in most luxury material layouts for whether it be a yacht or a train or a jetliner. They all have the same feel and aesthetic. So we have lots of recessed lighting. We have lots of space saving in smart ways to give more space in the actual interior because you're inside of a ship, to the point where it feels big, but it still feels like you're on a ship. Before doing that, putting systems into place where, hey, making variants for the ship is going to be easier because we're putting in a set of rules of modularity. They come together like Lego pieces. We need a variant like the Phoenix that I'm working on now. The variation is within the body, so the nose can remain the same on the exterior and on the interior. If we need fancier seats, I can switch those out. And then for the neck remains the same, tail remains the same. Body needs immense rework because it's this big luxury interior. Redo that. We need new space now because we have it broken up in a modular way now. I only have to increase the size on one part of it, and then the rest of them just attach in, and it requires way less rework. And that's what the systems are there for. It's to prevent reworking. It's to speed up the process, so frankly I can do a whole lot more ships in a faster manner, which is my goal, because I like making ships. I like making new ships too. Whoever owns this ship, this is where the parties are going to be. That's what I keep thinking as I'm working on it. Going to a couple of clubs over the past couple of weekends, I'd see certain things on my flight here. They had some updated recessed lighting on the airplane. I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And it was actually RSI color palette too. It's old orange and blue. I was like, yeah, look, RSI. Yeah, just reworking it to where it feels like, a loungy space, comfortable, luxurious, still functional. You can have your parties on the ship and have your meetings, and I imagine there'll be a lot of friendly gatherings on this ship.